All right, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday. It's time for the Real Estate Happy Hour.
We're here again, and you knew we would be because we're the biggest thing going, right?
The biggest thing at Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Money, and that's what we're lending here at Mortgage Bank.
The OJs.
The OJs. That's true. I didn't know who did this song, but
how do you not know? Hey,
Collier did.
Love the OJs. Well, I don't know any other songs, but
except this one.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
For the love of money.
Hey, just like last week, I have called you like 8 times this week, and every time I've called you, you've been busy.
Man, it is busy right now, which is a beautiful thing, right?
Absolutely. I love your organizational skills on your desk because he has all the loan files stacked up in this particular order. And earlier this year, he was always busy, but it was like, you'd have 4 or 5, going at a time, whatever it might be. And today I walked in there, you had like a plethora. I mean, they were everywhere. It was like fish in a sea. It was, what'd you have, 30 on there? I mean, it was tons of them.
Well, today I was catching up with a lot of people and, trying to revisit some folks and, just had some time. But yeah, there's a lot going on right now. The spring season is definitely underway. Ever since spring break, seems like things have really been busy, which is awesome.
They have, and I think the market's going to pick up after Easter. I mean, I think women who obviously drive our market to a large degree, I think that they want to get past Easter. Usually it's spring break, but with Easter being so late this year, I think that has played a little role here in kind of while it's busy, it's a slower start to getting inventory out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and I think it's awesome. Hey, Tammy, how you doing?
Hey.
Good to see you. And, it's been busy since spring break, so, we're still got a little bit of low inventory, but rates are going to stay low, and that's going to be awesome. We're going to talk a little bit about that coming up. But, man, this past weekend, whether you love him or hate him, Tiger Woods made a tremendous comeback. Speaking of comebacks, I mean, we're on a roll with comebacks in sports. We had Virginia Cavaliers, which you don't want to talk about.
No, let's don't talk about that one.
And then you got Tiger last weekend, which, look, man, I think it's been 11 years since he won a major golf tournament.
Yeah. What a deal. I was hashtag anybody but Tiger. But you can't, they say the back surgery that he had, for most people, he should not be playing at this elite level.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Obviously, we've seen a lot of tweets, a lot of messages this week about people loving a comeback. Obviously, it's going to be hard to. Some people find a hard time, obviously, rooting for him with what went on. But you do love a comeback. And
the good news is that you're using it for all your inspiration to make the senior tour because you're playing more than ever.
Yeah, I've still got a few years to brush up on my game before the senior tour starts. So plenty of time for that. Another comeback is Game of Thrones Sunday. Which
tell me about
Collier doesn't care about. Look,
I just don't know.
I just finally got around to watching it last night. All right, so obviously I'm not an avid.
Hold on. You're making this a segment in the happy hour because you watched it yesterday and you're excited for the momentum that is the Game of Thrones.
Look, it was a little slow. I'm not gonna lie to you. The little love fest on the dragons and stuff like that. Whatever. I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes. I think they've only got another 8 episodes. So
this is they're going to end this whole thing?
Yep, they're going to end the whole thing. Peter Dinklage is going to go off into Game of Thrones Hall of Fame.
Man, so excited. Oh, by the way, I've saved this for the show because it got kind of crazy the other night. I didn't get much sleep 2 nights ago because I had a war. And Tammy, if she's still on here, knows this from being a realtor. We're in our car. Our car is our office.
Yes.
And I had a damn mouse living in my car.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. It started on, I noticed maybe Monday night.
A mouse.
A rat, really. So I had a mouse, and I started seeing, like, occasionally, where the 9-year-old drops stuff. I found droppings, poop, right? And I'm determined that I'm going to find this sucker, right? And I thought I got him the first time. I just thought he was coming in and out and didn't think any of it. Then I saw more. So then I was determined this damn rat is going to be out of my car for the life of me because it started smelling stuff. It was probably, I don't know what it was. So anyway, I decided, being not the mechanic that I am, I'm going to dismantle part of the front from the engine compartment. The area where the air comes in, the air intake.
Okay.
Like I was just unscrewing crap because I was this determined. Tammy knows that we live there in that car. And so
this is hilarious.
So I was determined that I figured he was living in the air, like anything with air, because I saw he chewed up the cabin air filter a little bit and stuff like that. So what I did, I went and bought every kind of trap, the snap traps, the sticky traps. I mean, I had it everywhere in the car.
Everywhere.
So then
you just need one snap trap with peanut butter. That's it.
Yeah, but I couldn't take that chance. So I had the sticky, I had that, and then I had the one where he goes in. What really pissed me off was I tried the one where they come eat the poison. This son of a gun was eating the poison and backing himself out, so the trap didn't work, right? So anyway, then I blow all that air.
This is a Marvel's Avengers superhero mouse.
At 11 at night, I'm out here, and so I take a shot vac, and then I blow the air in reverse, so it goes out.
We would have more viewers if we could show this video footage than our regular show every Thursday.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, I thought about trading the car, but it gets good. Now, I've taken everything apart. That's a story later on. I blow air is all over. I mean, like it's like a blower.
Yeah.
Through the whole vac system, and I figured out that son of a is going to run the other way, right? Naturally. So don't even think. So I do it, and I am so mad that apparently it didn't work. So anyway, I open my car door, and I noticed one of the sticky traps. That's that light.
Yeah.
That doesn't work off motion.
Yeah.
Anyway, I noticed one of the sticky traps was upside down. And, all this time, that's another story. All right, all this...
Ray's asking how much it costs to have your car put back together.
I'm getting to that.
That's awesome.
But I see the sticky trap. I'm like, why in the world would that sticky trap have moved from the back of the car to the front of the car and upside down? So all this time I'm chasing this thing, I haven't been ready for the moment that we see eye to eye for the first time. I flipped this thing over, and my God, I woke the neighbors up. I woke everybody up. I screamed like a little girl. Ah! Right? I drop him on the ground, right? He'd eaten the poison. Then
he's on the trap. And how long have you been
I've been blowing him for, blowing the mouse. That was terrible. A slip of the tongue there. All right.
That's a wrap. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week.
So
man.
So anyway, so I take him over. He met his demise, because I knew he had taken the poison, all that. Anyway, so yes, Ray is correct. Of course, everything I took off the car didn't go back the exact same way it should.
So let's go back here. You had been messing around with the car for a while he's sitting dead on your floorboard.
Well, I blew the air, and I think that chased him out. But yes, I keep that going because I'm determined I'm going in every hole of this damn thing. So anyway, I kill him, whatever. But then I'm determined that I'm going to prove to my wife what a man I am and put the car back together. It didn't work. I end up called a few people. One of the things about this business is you know somebody. So I called a mechanic late at night that was a client, a friend. And I said, look, man, he goes, be at my shop at 7 a.m. We'll help you out. Anyway, so I go there. It took them an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, I had even destroyed my windshield wipers where they would no longer even move. It's crazy.
Classic.
But one dead rat. And so
amazing.
it cost about $300 plus a broken windshield because...
Plus a broken windshield?
Well, I'm not going to say anything, but I think when the guys were helping me fix everything, they put a something against the thing and broke it, and I just went ahead and replaced that too. Why not? But it beats a rat being in my car.
$300 mouse. I'm loving that.
Yeah,
man.
crazy.
Well, okay, that was great. A great start to the show this week. Listen, on the tail end of that, we're talking about pet-friendly homes. Now, this is funny, okay? And I'm just kind of analytical like this. I always look for. I hate when headlines bring you in and then the article doesn't hardly give you anything related to the headline. Now, this headline is why pet-friendly homes are in high demand, which, okay, I'll agree with you. This story talks about people loving pets.
Yes,
okay?
And what are you going to do about it, right? I mean...
Yeah, but how much of the article really deals with a pet-friendly home?
None.
There's like 3 things.
Well, retractable gates.
Right. Okay, so now this thing goes on to talk about how you love your pet and they would rather, I don't know, 68% of American households have pets.
Yeah, and they spent, the crazy thing is that Americans spent $72 billion on their pets last year.
$72 billion. There's some great facts here about 89% of pet owners say they would not give up their pet due to a housing restriction. obviously. 81% say their pets play a role in their housing situation. But here's what I loved. Okay, here's just a few things that are related to a pet-friendly home. Builders now are actually installing retractable pet gates. Retractable pet gates in the wall.
In the wall. Yeah. So we're saying right across.
Yeah. So you can close them.
It'd have been nice when the baby was there. I mean, Tammy's got a little one. Wouldn't that be cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then a fully fenced-in backyard. Okay, that's definitely pet-friendly. Everything else is talking about location of dog parks, proximity to veterinarians.
They're everywhere.
But anyway, very interesting.
But I do think it's important on the pet stuff that people think about rental side, right? If you're going to be a landlord.
Yeah, rental's always tough for pets.
Right. So at least here in Alabama, you got to be able to offer a pet in the home, or you're going to eliminate, what did we say?
68%.
Yeah, toddler gates. She wants to build the wall
retractable
big.
Toddler gates. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need.
With slick on the other one side, because they'll climb over.
Yes. There's another story. We could just make it like a little obstacle course. If it was slick, then they would fall down and entertain themselves for hours.
Huge.
This is great. We're going to change the whole Birmingham
market.
Well,
one thing I want to ask you about, and I've been asking you for weeks, is about we've been getting more and more questions about the VA loan, because while everybody understands what the VA loan loosely is, there's a lot of misconceptions that it's a bad loan. I think a lot of realtors don't think it's a good loan. Now, they understand the 100% financing, but we don't like the idea that it costs so much and those type things. And they take out more than the value of the home, essentially, in a loan.
Yeah, well, okay, so some of the things that I've heard is the trouble getting them done. The biggest problem that we've ever had is typically communication with appraisers and appraisal turn times. We order the appraisals through the VA, and those orders get sent out, and it's just not as much accountability in my mind to the appraiser.
Is that done locally? Is the VA have a rep in Alabama?
Yeah, they do. They do have local appraisers that get the orders. That's been our only gripe. I think real estate agents just don't like them, maybe because they haven't done them enough or things like that, because the VA loans are great loans. They're 100% financing. We do have some stats on them. I think it's funny because it says no mortgage insurance required. Okay, we're not calling it mortgage insurance, but there is a funding fee.
That's the government.
From 2.15% to 3.3%, depending on if you've used it before. Now, if you've had a VA disability before, if you receive any money for VA disability, then there is no funding fee. The funding fee is waived. So that's a really good deal. But I would say it's a great loan. It's easy to get done. We handle the underwriting here at Mortgage Bank. We handle our own underwriting for those loans. So
VA.
We don't see any hang-ups or any delays or any extra time on a VA loan.
Does a lender, this begs a question, it's just interesting, does a lender sell to the open market a VA loan like they do? Because they own it. VA, do they buy them from you?
Yeah, VA.
They actually own the loan from you guys.
Yeah, they guarantee it. And then typically you'll have another servicer.
So y'all tell them. All right, talk about credit scores with VA.
Yeah, VA is very lenient on credit score. I think, usually it's an overlay from the lender as to what they'll take. Usually I think we'll take down to a 600. And I think it's possible, I'm not sure on getting them approved below that. But VA is very lenient on all aspects of the loan, really. The one thing they're a stickler on is residual income. Okay, so
what do you mean by that?
That means that after you have taken out all of your debts and your mortgage payment and everything else, they do factor in like utilities and other expenses, cost of living expenses.
The other one, y'all typically don't do.
Yeah, we don't look at that on any other loans. And then they calculate a residual income, and that number needs to be. Typically, we don't deal with that very much. So it's lower incomes is where we get into that. We don't deal with that a whole lot. But, they're very flexible on the debt to income. I mean, I've seen them get approved at 59%.
So for reference purposes, 45% is normal, right?
Yeah, 45% is pretty high for a conventional loan. And I've seen them approved on a VA at 59%.
That's crazy.
So that's 59% of your gross income is going towards all your debts.
And what about a seller? Because everybody and their brother is asking for asking a seller to pay part of their closing costs.
You know what I love about this is This is the one part of VA loans that is completely misunderstood. I bet there's lenders that'll watch this that don't even know the details on your seller concessions. The VA is only allowed 4% seller concession. Even the sheet that Collier sent me for today says 6%. The max is 4%, but the funny part is that VA does not consider the buyer's closing costs as part of that number.
Really?
Okay. So the seller can pay the VA funding fee, prepayment of the taxes and insurance, gifts such as television set or microwave oven.
Television set. I haven't heard that in a while.
Look, you can even pay off credit card balances and collections.
Those are the good old days.
That is part of the seller concessions.
Hold on, but go back. But what you're saying is, what about their other closing costs? What about their closing costs?
The seller concessions do not include, let me say this again, they do not include payment of the buyer's closing costs or payment of points as appropriate to the market.
So can we pay them, though? Can a seller pay them?
Yes. The seller can pay all of that plus 4%.
Wow. Pretty fascinating. There's a lot of agents. I know Tammy knows this, but a lot of agents out there don't know that.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of lenders don't know that. It's just one of the most misunderstood things in, paying off loans in association with
Circuit City card.
Yes.
You can pay your Circuit City card.
You can pay collections from Circuit City too, judgment even, if you had one from Circuit City. That'd be beautiful.
Circuit City.
So that's a big deal on the VA loan. The rates are typically lower. And again, you don't get hit to the rate for your credit score like you do on a conventional loan.
Talk about one of the biggest things we face are these VA appraisers. Why are they different? And
you know what? That's a great question. I don't really know exactly why they operate differently. Now, VA just recently shortened the turn time from 10 days down to 5 days.
Because the last I checked, what do we have, 4 in the area, something like that, where we have hundreds of normal.
Yeah, I think it's just the licensing and stuff like that for VA appraisers. But I just don't see that they're a whole lot different, the appraisal that we actually get and the links to which they go analyze.
It's a lot of the small repairs that drive sellers nuts. And ask your agent, ask your lender. There's easy guidelines to follow.
I've heard some people complain that there's fees that the seller has to take
dealing with termite,
which is really just the attorney fee, really.
What termite?
Yeah, and the termite and the attorney is the veteran cannot pay those fees. Other than that, it's a great loan.
Boy, you keep going here, right?
The process is real simple.
What about rates? Are they lower with the VA?
Yeah, they're typically right now 3.875 on a VA loan.
And you said you may have already said this, but I can get a 15-year loan if I want to, right?
Yeah, we can get a 15 as well.
Can you do the 20 and those odd ones that you like?
I think it's just 15 and a 30. We just don't see anything outside of a 30 very often on the VA. We don't see many 15s or 20s in general, but especially on the VA, we only see the 30.
You know what was interesting was that I always wondered, who is actually eligible, right? Because, my God, I have USAA, and you know how much time I spent in the military. You wouldn't have wanted me in the military. I could have made it through basic training, right? But I am qualified because, I earned mine in Vietnam through my dad. But,
there you go.
Hey, I love that commercial. It took me about, I'm slow on these commercials. It took me I don't know, a year to figure out what these people were talking about. They were like, I earned mine in World War II, and you'd be an 8-year-old. But it would be who they got it from. But anyway, wanting to be eligible for a VA loan, here are the conditions that you have to meet. You don't have to meet one of these. You have to have served 90 consecutive days of service during wartime. I assume that means, I don't think it necessarily means in theater, I wouldn't think. You have served 181 days of service during peacetime, so over 6 months. You have 6 years or more in the National Guard or Reserves. We have a ton of the Air National Guard here in Birmingham.
We do.
You are the spouse of a service member who died in the line of duty as a result of a service-related disability. A lot of that disability, right?
Yeah.
You see that.
Yeah, so, just on top of your service to the country, which we're all so grateful for, we love doing these VA loans. They're really a great loan. We love serving veterans. We have a whole program through Fairway. We have a national program, American Warrior Initiative, where they go around city to city and they'll find local veterans. We did one here in Birmingham, and we find local veterans, and we found one here, and we gave them a car. Yeah,
it's close enough. With a mouse in it?
Didn't have a mouse in it, but we've given we've given checks, we've given service dogs, we've given all kinds of things to veterans around the country. And one of our loan officers, Louise Thaxton in Louisiana, heads that up, and she's on the go all year long, doing these all across the country.
By the way, one of our super fans, Michael Bruno, that's on here. Man, I was up there. I said hello to him the other day. Did you know he has a hot plate in his office? I didn't know people had that anymore.
That's Bruno's Cafe.
So does he walk it up or something in there?
Oh yeah, 3 times a week.
Man, I didn't know people did that anymore. I mean, he's in there with a full thing with a hot plate.
Absolutely.
I remember in apartments you couldn't have those. But anyway,
no.
Birmingham market update. Hey, the market. And look, we sound like a broken record. It's still a seller's market, barely. We got almost 4 months of inventory, right? And when we talk about that, what we mean by 4 months of inventory, meaning that if not one more listing hit the market, it would take 4 months with the current buyer load to evaporate those properties.
To sell them all.
But that doesn't happen because everybody keeps moving. Now, one of the biggest issues we're having.
And we need to get up over 6 to be a buyer's market, right?
Correct. And then
because I'm quoting. I talked to another real estate agent, and they had a buyer who knew we would be in a buyer's market in May. So they
in May. Yeah, it takes only 1 month to ship.
It's amazing. You spend all this time, spend all this time in the business, and we don't know. But
no, but to me, the market's like moving the Oasis of the seas, right? One of the biggest cruise ships in the world. It doesn't just turn on a dime.
Right.
It has to navigate its way. Yeah. Now, one of the biggest things is we're in a low inventory, still sitting in the high 4,000s. Again, perspective, 5-6 years ago, we were closer to 10,000 listings. So we lost almost half of our inventory. Now, prices continue to rise. A lot of that's inflationary, and it's also very hyper-local. In other words, there's certain areas of town that are going to keep going. A town like Alabaster had a lot more room to run. So it's continuing to run. Number of single-family homes compared to last year in the market as a whole, up 5% year over year from March of last year to March of this year. So up about 5,000. Average, again, these average sale prices up 8% year over year. What's really interesting, condos and townhomes, another one, up 20% on price. That said, we're down on inventory by 5% year over year. So inventory's not getting any better. And at some point, we really need inventory. If you're thinking about selling, now's the time to do it because the buyers are there and prices are increasing. At some point, that lid's going to be put on these prices. And interest rates are so good, you're going to get a good deal. And
so right now, sales are up, inventory is down, and that is not the recipe we're looking for. We need inventory to outpace sales in this market right now, right?
Absolutely. And I'm okay with a price sale increased growth. I'm okay on the top line of saying, hey, let's retard that growth a little bit on price because I want more people to get into the market. And eventually it'll drive the prices in the long run up, I think, on the backside. But anyway, median days on the market was 14 days. That's the dead middle. That's from the time they went on the market to when they went under contract.
Excellent. And this week has been super busy, so have not been looking at a lot of stocks. Hadn't been watching that this week, so we'll have to catch up and get us a market recap and an update on some of our favorite names next week.
Yes, cruise stocks got hit, which we love.
Carnival.
Cruise stocks.
Carnival.
They big polluters.
500,000 gallons of sewage they got caught dumping. They were on probation already.
And the stock took a hit today.
Yeah.
They're not listening. They do not care.
Obviously, they're not.
And we're not just talking Carnival. The actual
eco-friendly.
ships that got caught, at least initially, were Princess. So under that line is you have Princess, Holland America, and Carnival. So it wasn't necessarily a Carnival, fun ship, if you will. But good thing Royal Caribbean didn't take too much of a hit today. The other thing on stocks is I will tell you some of the favorites, because he hadn't been watching. Of course, I just have to take a look. Snapchat got downgraded today, but thank God it was the first time I've seen a downgrade not throttle us. and the market really didn't move on it. It went down a little bit, but
I think we recently had earnings on Snapchat, didn't we? Maybe they're coming.
They're coming. Royal's coming later.
We'll get upgraded back again.
What kills me about earnings, and you can talk about this just for a second, on earnings, what drives me nuts is everything's already priced into the market, good or bad. And you'll see, like Royal Caribbean last time, I do not understand conceptually why we're killing the market, we're making profit hand over fist, but yet the sellers are out in force, and it goes down only because forward guidance has been lowered a little bit, but yet very profitable. I don't understand.
Right. But that's a change, obviously a change, because you don't want to change guidance. You don't want to say that the company is going to do worse in the future. That's basically what you're saying when you have negative things on forward guidance. So basically saying there are problems, or there are some problems in there that we're downgrading our sales numbers and revenue numbers going forward.
Based on our estimates, though.
Even though we're making profit now, we're obviously
we're still going to be making.
We're not doing as well as we thought we would have. So
one person that does watch the Happy Hour asked me this question, and I thought it was interesting. We'll end with this. The question was asking me, does a company, you buy a stock, are you actually giving your money to, say, Royal Caribbean? Do they actually have you now? And the answer to that question is no. If you've heard of what's called an IPO, right? They send out to the market a certain number of shares that unless they buy them back, they don't ever see them again. They make that initial wave of cash, and then you're trading on these markets outside of the company. So your money never goes. I found that interesting because I hadn't thought about it. Your money never actually goes to Royal Caribbean. It stays outside the market moving amongst traders. Just interesting because I think there's a misconception out there that you're buying into the actual company. But that company on their IPO sold all whatever it's going to have in that company.
Yeah, but they sold those shares, so you still own. You're just trading the ownership of that share. So basically, if the company liquidated and bought everything back, then it would be worth something. Right?
That's why a buyback has effect on the market, right? Because the company is now getting involved in those shares. Because conceptually, a long time I had a hard concept of going, why are they buying it back? They already have our money, but they really don't have my money.
Right.
They have the initial dollar. So when it rises in price, because the other question was from the person was, then why does the CEO care? Oh, he cares because he wants to keep his job, right? Because now David owns 20% of the company. That might mean David can get rid of him if that outside market doesn't increase the value of his shares. So anyway, just thought I'd share that. Anyway, don't forget the podcast of the Real Estate Happy Hour. Anywhere you can find great
pod.
That's right. Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, all those great things. Man,
look it up.
We'll do it, and we'll see you. Absolutely. We'll see you next week. He's got to go to a tailor to fix his pants.
Yeah. We'll probably just buy some new ones.
Yeah, he can't stand up. Anyway, I had to do it. Anyway, we'll see you next Thursday.
See you guys. Y'all have a beautiful weekend, and happy Easter.
All right. Happy Easter. Bye-bye.